All right, we got HjalleNalle versus Tlaxtlan Soothsayer yet again. Lizardmen and Tomb Kings going at it hot and wild here. Take a look at that little chameleon skink just taking a look at us. All right, now let's take a look at these armies. We have HjalleNalle as the Lizardmen versus Tlaxtlan Soothsayer on the Tomb Kings. Let's take a look at these armies real quick before we jump in. This is another doozy of a fight. Now, Yalle has gone with a pretty long, good front line here of skink cohorts, with one of them being skink cohorts with javelin, 1, 2, 3, 4 normal cohorts with 1 with javelins. Now, he's got 2 units of Cold One Spear Riders over here and here. Over there and there. There we go. We also have the Umbral Tide, which is the Regiment Renowned version of the Salamander hunting pack. Remember that these guys do have stock, so you can't see them from the get-go. That they do have their amazing ability to do quite a bit of flame damage, light things on fire, all sorts of good, awesome action here. Now, in addition to the leadership, we have Gar. You can see him on his typical kind of kit here. You can see him with the Hand of the Gods. Sacred Spawning of Zodal, as well as his Cold-Blooded, which is never ever not going to be there. You also see our Lore of Heaven's little skink priest here, basically with Harmonic Convergence and not Midnight Wind, but Wind Blast. Sometimes my tongue doesn't work, and that's okay because I can just keep rolling right through it. Now we've got quite a few Pterodon Riders, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The 4th one here is the Regiment Renowned Pahawak Sentinels. Now these guys have their special little bomb that does sundering armor damage. Or not damage, but it does sunder armor. There we go. Drop rocks of sundering, minus 30 to armor of the things that it does hit. In addition, everything here does poison damage. I think there's one with Fire Leech Bolas somewhere. Aha, here we go. The Fire Leech Bolas are on these Pterodon Riders, so instead of doing poison damage, they will be doing their typical fire damage. Now, this is all going to go very, very strong and very well against an entire army of the undead here. Tomb Kings, of course, do take more damage from any kind of flaming attacks, such as the ones from the Fire Leech Bolas, or from the Salamander hunting pack down there. Now, as far as Tlaxtlan Soothsayer's army here, you can see he has a nice, large front line of Tomb Guard, 1, 2, and 3. Now, the Tomb Guard here are going to be the best choice of infantry against, actually, I think there's a 4th. Yeah, 4th one there, against any kind of play with Saurus warriors. In addition to, they will trade very well into any of the, ninjas here, any of the skinks that you will typically see in a lot of the current meta of Lizardmen. Now, he's got 1, 2, 3 units of Spearmen with a 4th one in the front here with King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion. You also see 2 units of Ushabti with Great Bows. And we also see Tetra the Imperishable here. He's got his Ushek's Incantation of Desiccation. And lastly, the Joff's Incantation of the Cursed Blades here, increasing weapon damage and AP. And I think we've got 2 Tomb Scorpions over there. And we also have our Tomb Prince on a Undead Steed as well, giving us some nice protection towards Tetra with his Guardian ability, as well as a lot of nice anti-large AP damage coming out for any of the things like Krokar and the such. So with this battle underway, let's go ahead and get things going here. It is quite a long fight here. I apologize for Ninja meowing incessantly at my side, but I'm not going to kick a cat out of my room, not yet. So we already see that the Ushabti Great Bows are firing down range into our Pterodon Riders here, trying to get some initial damage. HjalleNalle is doing a really good job of just kind of harrying back and forth, moving left and right, trying to juke out some of those shots. But trying to focus on these guys as fast as possible, since they will be doing a considerable amount of damage. One thing I did not mention from the Lizardman line here is we do have the Stegodon. This is not the ancient Stegodon. This is the normal Stegodon with just the Bastilla. The ancient Stegodon has the rapid fire kind of machine gun style thing that does more anti-infantry. So that Stegodon will go quite well against the Doom Pussy we can see with Tetra the Imperishable. Now, you can see these Fire Leech Bolas are starting to shoot some action into these Skeleton Spearmen, but for the most part, they're focusing on these Ushabti Great Bows, which is, again, a very good target. Getting them out of the fight early is going to be really great. Got a good Wind Blast ripping through these Tomb Guard. Does a good 25% damage to these guys. If these were the even lighter armored variant of any of the Tomb King's infantry, it would have done even more damage. As you can see, more Fire Leech Bolas into these Skeleton Spearmen. The Ushabti Great Bow getting picked apart more and more by the Pterodon Riders. Fire Leech Bolas just shooting down range here. Really what HjalleNalle is doing is just picking apart the hard targets for him to deal with. And with a mass amount of Pterodon Riders, you can see that all of the Ushabti Great Bows are consolidating their shots onto these units. And the fact that they're, well, quote-unquote monstrous flying units means that you can get a little bit more value out of them, because the Ushabti are not going to be as potent towards them as they would against a condensed unit of small infantry. So great move on his part. Let's move here as the battle kind of starts to unfold. We get the front lines moving forward. We had another wind blast here kind of rip through these Tomb Guard, knocking them down to 50% health. But for the most part, the Pterodon Riders have dealt with one unit of Ushabti. You have the Bowl of Fire Leech Bulls dropping their rocks onto this unit of Skeleton Spearmen, doing some great damage to them. But for the most part, we've got this front line looking to get some action going here. Almost said get some meat, but I mean, these guys are undead. Get the good charge in from these skinks here, leaping and bounding into the King Nekesh's Scorpion Legion. These guys, of course, doing their typical poison damage, lowering the melee weapon damage of all of the units that they hit, because the weapon strength is reduced when you get poisoned. Cetra is just jumping on board here. Doom Pussy all central, all along into those skink cohorts. Woo! You can see him just jumping on headlong. This is a lot longer of a slow-mo than I had originally intended, but I'm sticking with it. It is rocking and rolling right now. Fire Leech Bulls have a great target in the Cetra the Imperishable. It isn't doing the most amount of damage, but he's getting a good charge in from the Cold One Spear Riders and from Krokgar. A lot of AP, a lot of anti-large. Tlaxtlan Soothsayer pull Cetra back through the units here as well, trying to kind of screen some things out. Getting the Tomb Scorpion in onto this fight as well. Bringing the Tomb Prince in here too. So much is going on. Sacred Spawning of Zodal is kicked off. You got Harmonic Convergence, as well as Usef's Incantation of Desiccation overcasted to get some minus 44 to melee attack and to melee defense, getting a lot of stacking debuffs and buffs onto Krokgar. You can see that Tlaxtlan Soothsayer is looking to pop that leadership quick and fast. The Salamander Hunting Pack has moved into the back line of everything. You can, if we just kind of retrace this real quick, I unfortunately didn't follow it here, but this map has a lot of really cool rolling hills. But the Salamander Hunting Pack used this, these hills to his advantage to push behind this army. The fact that he already has stock and that he used the cover of the hill means that he was just doubly not seen or discovered during the whole entire flanking maneuver. But a nice, good amount of Salamander Hunting Pack firing has gone downrange, has been knocking into this unit of Skeleton Spearmen and Tomb Guard, finishing off the one that was already at 50% health from the Wind Blasts. We can see Krokgar is pulling out of this big all-in fight there. There's just too much going on. Cold One Spear Riders jumping back into the fray, trying to screen out their lord as he gets away from the combat. But for the most part, they're going to get a lot of friendly fire damage from that Salamander Hunting Pack that is just looking to shoot down range and get some fire damage into Cetra. Cetra took a little bit of a beating from that fight. Still getting hit by the Salamander Hunting Pack, but they are in turn going to get charged by these Skeleton Spearmen. But the nice thing about these Salamanders is they're quite quick on their little tiny webbed feet, so they get out of that fight quickly. More damage being shot in over here. You've got the Tomb Prince that is just going right after Krokgar here. And that's a pretty good play, because that guy can do a lot of damage here. Just kind of keep that pressure on. He is isolated. You can see there's plenty of support coming from the Tomb Kings over here. But we've got this Stegodon that is shooting down range at things. Let's kind of focusing on this. Where are you shooting? I know where you're shooting, but let's see where you're shooting. Boom! Now, he has shot at Cetra, thus poisoning Cetra. Now, we talked about this just a little bit ago, but just to kind of re-illustrate, poison does reduce the amount of AP missile damage, speed, weapon damage, armor piercing damage, and missile damage of a unit. So Cetra's going to be hard-pressed to put the pressure back on to Krokgar at that rate. So it was a really good play by his part. Nice Hand of the Burning, or Shem's Burning Gaze, or Hand of the Gods, actually. Shooting into Cetra, doing a little bit more damage, pushing him below 50% health here. You've got the Pterodon Riders just shooting down range as well into the Tomb Guard, and you have got the Stegodon being jumped upon by the Tomb Prince and the Tomb Scorpion. Ancient Salamanders getting a nice, good kind of run around here. They pushed out from this portion and came back around right here, got a new firing position, and are shooting into the Tomb Scorpions. Not a lot can threaten those Tomb Scorpions, but I think that Tlaxtlan Soothsayer knows that his big target has got to be those Tomb Scorpions, because they're just going to take apart the rest of his infantry army, which is already pretty much en route. Krokgar here, though, is getting completely focused, and boom! Knocked apart, which I think his last hit was from a Salamander Hunting Pack, killing Krokgar, the defender of Idsa here. Now, the Salamander Hunting Pack is still shooting down range. It's got plenty of dense targets here to hit. The Ushabti have been summoned into this pack as well, and you can see that Cetra the Imperishable is very, very low on health. But HjalleNalle is going to be dealt with some resistance from the King Akesh's Scorpion Legion. He's trying to get out of this fight before they engage because he doesn't want to get poisoned and slowed down, thus making them an easier target. The Doom Pussy is lopping up all over the battlefield, looking to get some new targets here. The Cold One Spear Riders are the last bit of threat on the battlefield that can really put a lot of damage into Cetra. So he's looking to just get some distance on them, or at least get a lot of damage into them to help shut them down. More Salamander Hunting Pack action going down range. The nice thing here is they do so much splash damage, and there's so many, it's a target-rich environment for them. So anything that they hit is going to be dealt a serious amount of damage that is not Cetra. Swarming over here into the Tomb Scorpions and the Tomb Prince, the Stegodon has fled and is marching off the battlefield here. As you can see that the Herodons are coming in to kind of help out their bros. They've got some skink reinforcements coming in as well, all kind of converging on this one point, which isn't going to be too great because those Tomb Scorpions and Cetra are just going to ride all over those skinks here. We still have some leadership with the Lore of Heavens and the skink priest over here, getting a nice charge in from the Cold One Spear Riders into those Tomb Guard, which is real great and nice and dandy. But really, for the most part, this is going to be the biggest portion of our fight. You already can see the Salamander Hunting Pack has gotten the distance it needs from all those three things. If they can get this Stegodon down, it's just going to really help with that balance of power. We can see the balance of power is still pretty even, if not a little bit in Tlaxtlan Soothsayer's favor. HjalleNalle is doing a good job of kind of keeping his fleeing units back in the fight. As soon as they rally, he gets them back engaged again. Not to mention the ones that's not moving right now. Bringing the Teardown Riders, though, down onto the Tomb Prince. He's got Joss Incantation, help buffing up his AP damage and weapon damage here, but doing whatever they can. You can see that Cetra is so low on health that 870 got just a beat-up unit of Teardown Riders on him. Waiting for those Salamander Hunting Packs to get in firing range to do some damage here. Just trying to hold on for dear life. Charging across the way here, right into this unit. The Tomb Prince is getting harried by those Teardown Riders. Oh no, how 11 health. Boom! Knocked apart. Another Lord is defeated by the Salamander Hunting Pack. The Stegodon is coming back online, though, getting some shots downrange. I believe it was actually into Cetra itself, but now shooting into the Tomb Prince here. Trying to neutralize a lot of the damage coming from this guy by poisoning him and getting some good AP anti-large on range. And oh, actually, it is just AP. I thought it had some anti-large in that ballista attack, but I was wrong. Charging headlong into that Tomb Prince, supported by the Teardown Riders, looking to pop whatever they can. Also, that Tomb Scorpion is being dealt a significant amount of damage as well, but he does have one that is at really good health right here. Tlaxtlan Soothsayer is just kind of using those large constructs to his advantage. Taking advantage of the fact that there's not really a lot on the battlefield that can threaten them anymore. There are no more Cold One Spear Riders, minus the little vestiges around here. Yeah, this was one I was looking for. They're just kind of holding on for dear life against this unit of Tomb Guard and just winning out against them. And you can see here that last Tomb Scorpion is still here. We have one or two more shots left on this Salamander Hunting Pack on the Umbral Tide, the Regiment of Renown version thus of. And we've got 3 units of, or Leslie, or a little more condensed units of one unit of Tomb Guard and 2 units of Spearmen, getting nice shots downrange. Like I was saying with the Salamander Hunting Pack, they have quite the wild firing range. So when they do shoot, it tends to go a little crazy. But in this, it worked to HjalleNalle's advantage, hitting both units and doing a significant amount of damage. He's moving around to get a better shot on Tlaxtlan Soothsayer's army here. Teardown Riders doing what they can to kind of hold up those Tomb Scorpions, hoping to get this Stegodon back on the field before it routes off the table here. It is so close! Even the Skink Priest is still around. We still have a nice little pocket of Lizardmen in this fight versus these guys right here and this unit of Tomb Guard and that Tomb Scorpion. So, unfortunately, the fight is pretty stacked evenly right now because Umbral Tide, once they use 1 or 2 more of their shots, a nice amount of shots coming in from these Skink cohorts, completely destroying that unit there. I think that was King Akesh's. Yep, that was King Akesh's Scorpion Legion, knocking them out of the fight, getting rid of that poison damage here. But as we can see, the Umbral Tide is looking to march downrange, get a good shot into these Tomb Guard. And it does, into the Tomb Scorpion. Completely full of shit right there. Shooting downrange, hitting into that. It is a single entity, so it doesn't do as much damage as it can to a condensed unit. But at the same time, a lot of these units are pretty much beat up. So it's going to be mainly about trying to get these Cold One Spear Riders onto this Tomb Scorpion to do the AP anti-large damage that is greatly needed in this last vestiges of the skirmish here. Tide charging in, leaping onto things. Now, the Salamander hunting packs actually do have a good amount of melee stats, 31 melee defense and attack. I mean, that's not too shabby. They also do fire damage. So in this engagement here, they're going to be very advantageous, doing quite a bit. You have the Lore of Heavens dropping right onto that Tomb Scorpion there. Looks like all magic is out right now. They're just trying to do whatever they can. Cold-Blooded has been popped onto the Armbled Tide to keep them in this fight as long as possible, keeping their leadership at a high point. That fire damage is, like I said, going to be so huge right now. We have all the Lizardmen are just about starting to flee. We have the Armbled Tide here. We have a broken unit of 2 broken units of Skinks. We have 1 unit of Coldwind Spear Riders start trying to just kind of hold on. The Skink Priest of Heavens is now routing off, and we just have the Armbled Tide on the table right now. Pterodon Riders also routing. Heavens coming back online there at the last minute. Tomb Scorpion still here, though. Still going under and up and in and out of the grass to just do some damage to the Armbled Tide. Trying to flee back. HjalleNalle is waiting for things to kind of come back, waiting to get some rallying going on. A Harmonic Convergence being popped onto the Armbled Tide, looking to get some more damage into them. Focusing down those Tomb Guard and that Tomb Scorpion. Oh, that Skink Priest of Heavens doesn't know where he wants to charge. Getting a nice rear charge into the Tomb Scorpion there. Great move by HjalleNalle. And you can see that Tlaxtlan Soothsayer is trying to do whatever he can to kind of shore up that back line, or I'm sorry, that rear charge with the Tomb Guard, but it didn't quite work out too well for him as the swooping Skink Priest got in right in that little nick of, that little crack of buttholes and stuff. Nick of time, all that kind of action. Tomb Scorpion just looking to fall apart here, as we can see the last bits of the Lizardman army are just barely hanging on. Pterodon Riders are now fleeing off the table here. Everything's banner is blinking. The only thing that's not is the Armbled Tide doing that fire damage, trying to just kind of turn things that last little bit to get the army losses kicking in for one side or the other here. Tlaxtlan Soothsayer and HjalleNalle bringing it down to the wire. Oh no! Oh, the Tomb Scorpions finally explode. And a Pyrrhic victory indeed for HjalleNalle as he pulls out ahead of Tlaxtlan Soothsayer in that fight. And that was a brutal one. Tlaxtlan Soothsayer sent that to me from HjalleNalle. He was saying, like, I don't want you to show me beating HjalleNalle because he's a very, very good player. I want to show some other stuff from him. And I think this is actually from HjalleNalle himself. That's why we were seeing it from his standpoint. That's why he has the green text and this is all red. So he wanted to share that with me to put that up on the channel here. So a huge thank you again to Jalle and to Tlaxtlan Soothsayer. I've put up a lot of their replays. They have a lot of really great, really fun, close matches. And you can really see how these high-level players, how they really go about playing things that are really so minute, even in their charges. If you saw how the Skink Priest of the Heavens at the very end got a rear charge onto that Tomb Scorpion, it's like, I just right-click and hopefully they make it there. So if you want to learn things to get better at the game, hopefully watching these replays or watching these battle casts of these high-level players, you get a sense for how they approach combat and how they really don't panic when things are below 20, 30% health. They still look at that as not a lost asset. They still look at that as something that they can do damage with. So if you're new to the game, new to multiplayer, don't think that anything that has fled is completely useless on the battlefield. It can always come back and do something for you, as you saw how things have fled and come around multiple times for HjalleNalle to put pressure constantly onto Tlaxtlan Soothsayer. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Plenty more quick battles to come, but have a good one and take care.